everything as I walked up the driveway. But as I approached the porch, I saw that the front door was open. Not all the way, but enough to be strange considering it was snowing and cold. I figured it was so I could leave the bag inside the house rather than out in the snow. So when I got up to the door, I pushed it a little bit more open and slid the bag inside the house. But just as I pulled my phone out to take a picture for confirmation, I heard a woman's voice yell from across the house.
Don't even go in there.
She asked if I was the delivery person dropping off her order. It sounded like a young woman, maybe even early 20s.
Yeah, I put it right here in your doorway,
I said, not expecting the conversation.
Bro.
The woman responded right away, saying I could push the door open and bring the bag to her. I knew it was strange to be asking me to go inside their house, but I pushed the door open just to see where they were.
There. He tweaking.
Past the entrance, there was a long hallway that led to what I think was the kitchen, and on the wall, I could see the clear shadow of the woman who was presumably standing right around the corner.
But she didn't even show her face yet,
where do you want me to bring it?
There was a long moment before the woman responded. She leaned half of her body around the corner and showed herself at the end of the hallway, telling me to just bring it over to her and gesturing with her hands for me to come in. But as she went back around the corner and out of sight, I realized that the shadow outline on the wall hadn't moved with her. It was someone else's shadow standing somewhere by her around the corner. I stood there for a second as I felt blood rush through my body. Then I quietly placed the bag down and took a few steps back before turning and rushing away from the house. I stumbled into my car and glanced back at the house as I pulled away. In the front window, the figure of a large man approached and watched as I left. I stopped at a nearby gas station to catch my breath and rethink everything that happened.
But don't even think about it.
It was pretty clear by how everything played out that this was some kind of setup, but I also knew the police would have nothing but my word to go off of. I did end up reporting it, but when they went to the house to ask the woman about what happened, she denied that anyone else was there and denied the officers access to search the home for anyone else.
Oh, bro, that's why she denying.
So, like I said, the police were unable to do anything at the time. What the woman and the man were trying to do by getting me inside their house is unknown. And I can only imagine that I wouldn't be here right now if I had gone inside without thinking twice.
Oh, bro, like, what are you trying to do, some Diddy shit? Like, that's... Alright, bro. Hold up. So... Okay, before we get into this next one, bro. Folks was smart. He was smart. I ain't gonna lie. I gotta give it to him. He was smart, because that's... Like, I would've... What? Okay. Nah, I got some other orders, and... Hold up, bro. Oh, bro, we can't go, man. We can't go for none of that. All right, but anyways, though, I would have said, man, we cannot go, bro. Like I would have, nah, I can't even do it. Man. But I'm gonna see you later, though. I wouldn't even said I'm gonna see you later. I just did. I'm sorry. I got a few more orders to take care of. Oh, bro, I kept it pushing. She gon', yeah. I ain't gonna lie, bro. What was folks planning on doing though? Like some zesty shit? Like, I don't know. I don't know, bro. I don't know. That's weird though. Like, it's for sure weird. For sure.
Last year, my roommate moved out of the house we had been renting together for the past 4 years. By then, both of us had gotten better jobs and were getting paid more, and the house we had wasn't the best, so it was only a matter of time before one of us moved out to get their own place. After he moved though, I was able to use more of the space in the house and actually just decided to stay there for another year or two. This happened during this time in early December. Our area was going through a week of some pretty bad snowstorms, and the office I worked at allowed us to work from home for a few days if we wanted to. Obviously, I chose to take the offer. I used my old roommate's bedroom as an office and worked throughout the day, but at one point while I was working, there was a knock at the front door. I left the room and checked who it was. There was a man on the porch in a heavy winter jacket. He didn't seem to be a worker or delivery person of any kind,
Wait,
just some regular guy.
Wait, okay, fo. Okay, fo. All right. Look at his face, right? Look at his face. Does that look like somebody you should let into your crib? Like, before asking, like, yo, like, what's going on? Like, what is you here for, bro? Like, look at his nose. You can clearly see his brain up there, bro. Like, look at that. Yeah, it's getting weird, bro. It's getting weird. Like, he clearly smells. He smells something going on. Like, he smells something. He up to no good. He up to no's good. You got me. That was bogus. But he up to something, bro. I ain't even gonna hold you. He up to something. For sure.
I opened the door, getting hit by a rush of snow and wind.
How can I help you?
Letting all my
The
heat
man
out.
smiled and apologized for interrupting my day, then explained his situation. He
What?
said his car got stuck in the snow right on the side of the road next to my house, and he didn't have a phone on him, so he asked if he could borrow mine.
No.
Obviously skeptical, I told him to give me a minute. Then I closed the door and went to the other side of the house. I looked out the window at the road he was supposedly stuck on. There was a small SUV that looked like it had actually slid into the curb and gotten stuck in the snowbank.
Okay.
Now that I was pretty sure he wasn't lying, I grabbed a jacket and put on some shoes, then went back to the front door. I was still a bit skeptical, but I stood on the porch with him as he used my phone to call his brother, just so that if he did try to run with my phone or anything, I could chase after him or prevent him from leaving.
Beating.
After a quick
light with
call,
no
though,
reaction,
the man handed my phone back and thanked me, then walked away. I went inside and checked the window, seeing the man getting in his car.
Bro, stop doing
Thinking everything was settled now, I went back to the office and started working again. Around 7, I felt like I'd done enough for the day and took the rest of the night
that.
off.
Got that little bitty water up in
It
there,
was
bro.
then that I
Drink the
remembered
rest of
about
that,
the
man.
man and his car and went to check on it, but I was surprised to see that the car was still there, and I could see the man moving around inside. It had been almost 3 hours by then,
Oh, bro,
which
like,
made me
hey.
wonder how he was still there.
You gotta bounce, game.
Maybe he was waiting for his brother to get off of work and pick him up.
You straight.
I didn't
Let's go, my
know,
boy.
but I went to the kitchen and made some dinner, then sat on the couch to watch TV.
You watch a TV? It's a whole weirdo.
I stayed
outside
up until
today.
about 9:30, then went upstairs to shower and get ready for bed. I turned the water on and got in the shower, but a few minutes in, there was an abrupt and sudden banging on the front door. It was loud and harsh,
When you in the shower?
completely jump-scaring
Yeah,
me
gotta
and
get
putting
light
me in
with
a
no
fear-induced frozen
I ain't
state
even
for a
gonna lie
moment.
to you, bro.
The banging was so loud, it was shaking the walls, and even across the entire house, I could hear that it was coming from the front door. They were hitting it non-stop, and I could even hear them aggressively shaking the door handle.
Yeah.
It was such a sudden burst of chaos that it was hard for me to know what to do.
But it's
I turned off the shower and quickly got dressed, but as I left my room and walked down the upstairs hallway, everything stopped. It was just silent, no more sounds at all. I stopped in place, hearing only the wind from outside and feeling the eeriness set in, before I slowly walked downstairs and up to the front door. Nobody was there anymore. I quickly ran to the window, seeing that the car was still there, but the man was not inside of it.
Yeah, what?
Not knowing what to make of any of it, I called the police. When they came, they noticed multiple sets of shoe prints in the snow, but they were covered up by the storm soon after.
Oh, what?
They took the license plate of the car though and found a picture of the owner, and from what I could tell, it was the same guy that I'd helped on my porch.
He a dummy. Why would
In
he
the
do this
following
to my car?
days, they waited for him to turn up, but as far as I know, he never did. It's really disturbing to think about what could have happened that night right outside my door. Was it that same man desperately trying to get in for some reason, or someone else with a more malicious intent? It seems most think that it was the man running from someone and trying to get help, but what happened afterwards is still up for debate.
So
Nothing is really known about that night. Where the man is now and what he was running from are just a few questions on a long list that will probably never be answered.
Yeah. Did y'all see that? Whoa.
This happened in
wait, 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 wait,
2015.
wait. No, we not
I had
finna
just
get past that, bro. We not. Look, look, look. Did y'all see that? Weird shit, bro. That's what I'm talking about. That's that weird shit. Like, what was you running from? Or was you teaming up with folks trying to come see, bro? I be overthinker, bro. I can't. That's something I can't do, bro. I'm gonna keep the bucky.
This happened in 2015. I had just moved to a small house far from my hometown the year before, so I was still getting used to the area and hadn't met many people yet. I worked from home as well, which made it even harder. Anyway, for Christmas, I had no plans at all. My family was too far, and I didn't have enough vacation time to go out and see them, so this was actually going to be my first Christmas alone.
Word.
On Christmas Eve, I stayed up working, figuring I'd just get ahead on some things, so I didn't have to worry about doing anything on Christmas Day. I was working in the living room, listening to music as well, when through it, I heard something coming from outside. I pulled out one of the earbuds and listened, but didn't hear anything
Bro,
else,
you gotta hit that.
so I got up and looked around.
Both.
With my earbuds in, it was hard to know what direction it came from, but I was pretty sure it was outside the house,
still got it,
not
man.
inside.
That's what you
I looked out the back window, not seeing anything, then moved to the front window and again saw nothing. But then I looked out the front door. On the porch were a set of shoe prints in the snow. They led right up to my doorstep and then back out to the driveway. There was no mail dropped off or anything at all on the porch, just the shoe prints. It was really strange and made me feel a little anxious, not knowing why anyone would be walking up to my doorstep at 11 p.m. on Christmas Eve. I made sure the door was locked and went back to work, then got in bed soon after. It was a bit strange waking up on Christmas morning, feeling like it was any other day. I brewed a cup of coffee and sat on my chair to watch TV. I think I spent the whole morning just sitting there and watching shows and movies. I gave my parents a call and talked to them for a bit, but that was really about all I did. I thought about going out, but it was really cold and the wind was really strong, so I just stayed in for the day.
It was really cold.
By 6 p.m., I had basically done nothing all day and made some dinner, planning on going to bed early. But then I heard something outside. It was the shuffling sound of footsteps in the snow, coming toward the front door. I stayed quiet, knowing nobody should be here. After a few seconds, the footsteps sounded again, walking away from the house. I went up and checked, seeing almost an identical scene to what I saw the previous night.
What the fuck?
After that, I forced myself to stay up later. I kept my eyes open until probably around 10, before I guess I fell asleep on the couch. I remember getting really tired and trying to stay up, but I didn't plan on falling asleep out there. When I woke up, the TV was still on and flashing light throughout the dark room. I sat up and paused it, then got up to go to my bedroom. As I walked down the hallway though, my eyes instantly locked on my bedroom door. It was open, but I knew I always kept it closed. I walked over and pushed it open wider, then flicked on the light. Wet shoe prints were scattered around the floor, going to and from the window.
Fool, why did
In
you
a
not
complete
lock your
state of
window?
shock, I spun around
You're
and turned on
tweaking.
the hallway light, now seeing more shoe prints going down toward the living room. I followed them, but they stopped right outside the living room, looking like they'd turned and went back right after seeing me on the couch. The shoe prints were nowhere else in the house. Police did what they could, but if I'm being honest, they weren't of much help. The current theory is that the man had come by the previous 2 nights to see if I was home. After not answering the door though, he likely thought I was away for the holidays. I know it's likely that he only broke into my house to rob
you gotta
me,
know you,
but
bro.
still,
Like,
it's extremely
what? You
disturbing,
away for the holidays?
especially since I was at
You
home
ended up
sleeping
staying
when
and
it
having
all
a good
happened.
time?
Whoever it was though, they never came back.
What the fuck? Alright, bro, we gonna watch,
Last December, I
We gonna watch
traveled
one more.
across the
We gonna watch one
country
more.
to meet my parents and siblings for Christmas.
okay.
My parents had a decent-sized house, so we would usually just all stay there and sleep on the couch or in the spare
Already
bedrooms.
do it.
That being said, I didn't rent any hotels, even for the drive. It was 10 hours long, but I just didn't see a need in stopping halfway there and wasting a whole night. I left early on the 23rd, planning it out to get to the house around dinner time.
Car decent.
As I started the drive, snow was lightly coming down.
Okay.
Nothing crazy, but enough to cause a bit of traffic. This went on for a few hours, until it suddenly started pouring down. It happened over just 30 minutes, going from a very light downfall to an extremely heavy storm. Along with the winds, it was nearly impossible to see anything in front of me. Most other cars started to pull off to the side of the road, but I really wanted to keep going. I drove in these horrible conditions for the better part of an hour, having a few close calls before deciding enough was enough. I pulled into a motel and sat in the parking lot, waiting for the snow to clear up. There were a lot of other cars in the parking lot, but I think most were probably trying to wait it out like I was. But as the sun started to set, there was no chance of that happening anytime soon. I reluctantly went in and got a room. I went to my room and lay down on the bed. It was around 8 o'clock at this point, and I'd figured I'd just sleep now and see if it was clear in a few hours.
Right.
I set an alarm on my phone for 11, then passed out. But when I woke up, I immediately knew something was wrong. I turned and looked at my phone, seeing it was just before 2 a.m. My alarm didn't go off.
I'm thinking about
I
hitting
quickly got out of bed and ran up to
Then
the
I'm
window.
bogus.
The parking lot was almost empty now, but it was still snowing pretty bad.
Bro, it's heavy.
I sat back on the bed, and after some thinking, I decided to take the loss and just spend the rest of the night there and hope for the best in the morning.
Bro, stop doing that game.
I laid down, closing my eyes, but now that I was more calm, something caught my attention. A cold breeze blowing through the room, and the clear sound of wind. I sat up, seeing the window at the end of the bed was cracked open. I got up and shut it, but I was almost positive it was closed when I went to bed. It's something I definitely would have noticed, being that there was a whole storm outside. A rush of adrenaline went through me as I started to worry. I faced the rest of the room, now looking into the dark and standing still, listening for anything. Then I slowly walked around, checking for anything missing or any signs that someone had been inside. I didn't see or find anything until I went to check out the peephole. That's when I noticed that both locks on the door were now open. Someone had unlocked it from the inside.
What is up
Blood
with y'all
rushed
letting
from my
people get into
face
y'all
as I locked the
crib,
door
bro?
and backed away, thinking
That
through
Rocky.
every possible horrifying
That
scenario that I could be caught in right now. I started putting my things back into my bag and getting ready to leave, but then there was a sudden shake of the door handle.
Yeah,
I stared at
get up
it
out of there,
with
bro.
wide eyes,
It's either
seeing
that or
the
you gotta
handle
fight,
move
bro.
back and forth like they were trying to force it open. Then it went silent. I waited for a long couple minutes before I slowly and quietly crept toward the door to check if it was safe to make a run for my car. I looked out the peephole, seeing a man leaning
Wait.
against the door
Wait.
like he was listening.
Wait,
I was frozen.
wait. My question is though, why is folks bald head in the middle though? Like, wait. Why is folks? But here's the thing that I don't get though. It can't be that he balding because folks got basically a whole mullet everywhere. He deliberately cut this. You're dealing with a crazy man. That is outrageous. That is preposterous even. That is wild. That's crazy, fo. You're dealing with a madman. You gotta get out of there, bro. You gotta get out of there.
But he must have heard something, because only a few seconds later, he rushed away from the door.
Wait.
I spent no time waiting, leaving the room soon after and getting in my car, pulling out and leaving the motel. I got lucky, as nobody else was on the roads, and they seemed to have just been plowed.
Go ahead.
I drove through the storm until I got to my parents' house,
run away from.
taking much longer than it should have. What that man was trying to do, I can't even begin to think of. They had obviously been in the room while I was sleeping and unlocked the door. But what they wanted and why they had to come back to my room,
like that?
I just don't know.
I don't understand.
But if I hadn't woken up when I did and stayed asleep for just a minute longer, I might have never made it to my parents' house.
For what, bro? Alright, bro. Alright. I don't know, man. I don't know, bro. I don't know what's up with people letting people get into their crib, be down on their door like that.